Urban Media Today talks sports with Ray Porter Jr., Vince Butts, and Trevin A. Jones on Urban Media Today Radio.
It's game time!
It's Urban Media Today Talks Sports. It's the fourth quarter. So we got Ray Porter Jr. I don't know why I do that, Ray. Ray Porter Jr. We got
it's in the
Coach
contract,
William,
man. Can you say?
It's in the contract. There you go. You got Coach William Greg Hoy Jr. Ray, you got me messing up over here. And we got Coach Kenneth Blakeney, the Howard University men's head basketball coach. And we've been talking a little bit about everything. And then bringing back home, we were just talking about recruiting, talking about the coach and how he's helped develop players as well. And we've seen some great players. Last year, I am just impressed and amazed with CJ Charles Williams, who was a senior at Howard last year. Was he the all-time leading scorer in Howard University history, coach? Did he finish the season as that?
He's the MEAC all-time leading scorer.
Okay, the MEAC all-time leading scorer. And then he had a young man coming up behind him, Mr. Wayne Bristol Jr., who's showing, like the potential is just through the roof. Not to discredit or leave out Kyle Foster or anybody like that, because those gentlemen and Zion Cousins, I think you got coming back. Great people, great individuals, great players. Coach, I want you to talk about the feel after your first year. Now going into the second year, and I asked Coach Scott this question too. Coach Scott kind of has an advantage because of the COVID situation. What I mean by that is, Coach Scott and I, as we were speaking on the show, because there's no fall sports, it's almost like he has a whole year to prepare before he goes into his first year. Your situation is a little bit different because you got your first year in. Now we're still waiting to see what's going to happen before you start your second year. So that could lead up to almost half a year later, correct?
100%. Definitely. Everything is still up in the air. Right now, we are still on pace to play our regular schedule. But as you know, the talk around the country has been for a lot of leagues to start to look at conference-only play. So that may be a possibility, which means that we won't start basketball until January.
Which will be conference game. Yep, January 1st. Okay, I got you. Which means conference games, which actually means half of the schedule. Now, is there an advantage to not playing the big, like the Big Ten schools, the ACC schools? Because that's who you would play in December, beginning October, November, December, leading up to conference play. So now you're jumping right into conference play. Is there an advantage there?
There's not an advantage, but I think what you have an opportunity to do is to knock some rust off and some kinks off before you actually jump into game play, conference play. But, even to have those opportunities, as a competitor, you think you can win those games. So it's always nice to go against some of those schools those Power 5 schools that have a chance to beat them. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity if we can play a non-conference schedule. I'm chomping at the bits to really compete against those guys to kind of showcase, I think, our guys. We're going to put our best foot forward, hopefully. And, if that is the opportunity that presents itself, we're really looking forward to it.
Good stuff. And the reason I even brought that up is because HBCUs, for lack of a better way of putting it, because I don't even believe in this, when you're talking about like Marquette, like Illinois and places like that, and then you say, oh, well, those are big-time basketball schools, but then you have the HBCUs. Well, people don't understand. HBCU basketball is big-time basketball. All you have to do is go to a game. So I say that to say this. You guys were catching a lot of people by surprise even last year. in the non-conference games. So I'm kind of disappointed if you don't get the opportunity, because I think this year a lot of the HBCUs are going to catch a lot of people by surprise that they think are big-time schools. Do you not think the same?
Absolutely. No, 100%. I know, Coach, my man over at Kevin Brodus at Morgan State, he's loaded up. He's done a phenomenal job. Kevin is one of the best recruiters, whatever level in the country. He's been at Maryland, he's been at Georgetown, and he's recruited pros. The coach down in Norfolk State, Coach Kevin, he's done an incredible job. My man in North Carolina Central, he does an incredible job every year. Delaware State with Coach Eric Skeeter, they're going to be better. He's got a big-time transfer coming in from Tennessee who's going to have a great impact on the league. The league is very, very thick, and it's very, very deep. And it's one of those leagues where, you don't have a gimme any night. I looked at our record after the season, and I think we might have lost probably 8 to 9 games by 2 to 3 possessions. And that's how tight the league is, in the MEAC. And it's a more competitive league than you would think, because of the way that we have to schedule games. It sometimes sets us up for failure in the non-conference. For instance, we were on the road this year, and we had to play maybe 8 games in about a 14 to 16-day period. So when you're traveling and you're doing that, it doesn't even allow you an opportunity to practice and get better. So, the non-conference thing is very difficult and challenging, but, when you're building the pieces up that can kind of compete and play with those teams, you want that opportunity to really showcase to the world the talent that you have.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And now what I'm going to do, Coach, is this is the fourth quarter as we come down to the final drive of the game, so to speak. We're going to go around the room, and each of us is going to talk about something that stood out to us this week. Before I do that, Ray and Coach, do you have any questions you want to ask Coach before we go to that point?
Yeah, I've visited DC ever since I was a little kid, because I have family that live near there, Columbia, Maryland, and other areas. I cannot believe that I've still never seen Howard University's campus.
What? Did you just say you've never been to the Mecca? Is that what you just said? Did you say that out loud?
Been. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's an honest confession. I can't believe it. My wife and I even went to a jazz club, back in 2014, and someone said the campus was just right next to it. I can't believe it. So I looked at it, and the campus is huge. I didn't realize the campus was that big. I talked about the campus having its own hospital. And the football field's legendary, of course.
Yeah, no doubt. We have about 10,000 students on campus, which includes our medical school and grad school. So it is a beautiful, beautiful campus right in the middle of Washington D.C. So it's a great place to visit. I would love to bring you down, Coach Ray, and host you and show you around campus and show you what the Mecca is really all about.
Wow.
I can't wait. Yes, sir. Come to Zamundo, Coach says.
That's big time. That's big time. And you get to hang out with Coach? Man,
Absolutely.
I'm jealous right now. I'm not even feeling you right now, Ray. I'm like, we have this right now. 'Cause you get to go. You got an invitation, bro.
I appreciate it.
Coach Hoyd, did you have another question before we get to the final drive of the show?
Talking to high school players around the country, things that they should be working on. And you're a pretty intellectual guy. You've been, around the Duke system. You've seen sustainability, right? You talked about some things at Harvard that you've experienced as far as guys playing at a different level, having a different bone in their body. I always say that in recruiting, that guy's different. What could you talk to the young recruits that maybe are up and coming out of middle school or just starting high school, things they need to be working on to develop their game, and also parents, what parents need to be making sure that their student athletes are working on as far as their game.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm a very, that keep it simple, stupid kind of guy. And so I'm saying that is like the fundamentals are the most important thing and the foundation that you can always have. I know everybody had a chance to watch the Michael Jordan, documentary that came on ESPN, that 10-part documentary series that came on that kind of kept the world afloat during COVID and also during the protests. It was like our one opportunity to kind of celebrate and kind of connect through sports. And the one thing that I always loved about Michael Jordan is that he kept his stuff so fundamentally sound. Like he had strong side drive, strong side crossover, shot fake drive. His things were not as intricate as maybe a lot of people would think. His fundamentals, his footwork were very basic. And I say, like, if guys want to really understand what it takes to be a great player, watch Michael Jordan, because he's one of the most fundamentally sound players in the history of our game. So I really believe in the foundation of fundamentals, and that's what we really stress in our program. If you were to come watch us practice or watch us during some of our player development stuff, you would see us doing the same things that probably a 12 and under team is doing, or a 15 and under team is doing. We're not doing step backs to the step back and, a lot of crazy dribbling drills that, you dribble with one ball. You play with one ball. We try to keep things very simple because we don't want our guys really, I think, going outside of the sphere of the fundamentals.
Good stuff. Now, speaking of drive, Coach, it was the final drive of the show. We're going to go around the room, and this is what we're going to address quickly. Anything that stood out in your mind this week, anything that was heavy on your heart, heavy in your mind, anything that impressed you. It can be sports related, but it doesn't have to be. Ray Porter Jr., what you got?
Well, I've been watching, it's August, so been really waiting to hear what NCAA has been, going to decide, especially Division I, college football, and college sports. We know that Division II and Division III has made their decision to not have sports for the fall. But the attention getter was Connecticut, University of Connecticut football team when they made their decision a few days ago. And some folks made jokes like saying, hey, they're not a good team, so why should that matter? And I had to check somebody and tell them, well, how about the fact that they made a bold step that a lot of teams didn't by just opting out for the season. And I respect them for doing that, being mindful, of this pandemic. And, these are kids, parents, kids out here on campuses and on the football team. So I think that's a wise move because of the pandemic. So I'm waiting to see who else is going to make that decision. And we know it's not an easy decision, but this is not an easy time. This is not a 1-2 time. This is a have-to time. We have to make those decisions on what's best and what's safe for everybody. So I salute UConn. I salute Division II, Division III. And what is it, the MEAC conference? Which conference was it that decided not to have games in the fall?
Fall sports. Yeah, the MEAC, the SWAC, and the SIAC, and
Right.
CIAA. So
And
all
I
of them were
salute them
involved.
as well. I salute them as well.
Definitely. All right. It's good stuff, Ray. Coach Hoyd, what you got, Coach?
Well, man, I'm just, traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast. I'm just very thankful to be around family and get my family situated. Just make sure everybody on this call take care of your family, and definitely shout out to Coach for coming on the show. I know he's already had an interview with my daughter, so that was a great that was a great little warm up. She coached me up on you, Coach. So I'm super excited about you. Being that I work with the recruits all around the country, I'm super excited to see what you've done. And I'm just, again, like Ray just talked about. Hang on, fellas. Sorry about that. Ray just talked about the UConn canceling their season, and I'm just, I'm just always just curious to know, is a student athlete worth more than athletics? Being a former athlete, playing in a Division I school, I know you had to get your mind right to play, right? But at the same time, we're thinking about COVID-19, people's lives, and you see so many lives being lost by this pandemic. So that's what stands out to me. Just what's kind of similar to what Ray just talked about. What are the universities going to do to move forward in this temporary life that we're in? It's like a snapshot right now. We're all frozen to find out what's going to happen. And I'm definitely praying for the best.
I'm with you on that, Coach. Coach Blakeney, our special guest. Coach, what you got?
Well, I think for me, it's the bubble. The NBA, Major League Soccer, the NHL, and then Major League Baseball. And you have 4 major sports going on right now in terms of outside of golf and tennis and NASCAR, where you are actually physically touching people in that competitive way. To see the NBA, Adam Silver, Duke grad, so I got to pump that up a little bit, doing an amazing job at keeping all of those guys safe and healthy inside the bubble has been incredible. I think Major League Soccer has done an incredible job. Watching the NHL, I've heard that they have 0 cases right now in the NHL, but Major League Baseball not having the same type of structure that the other 3 sports that I've mentioned have paused games and have had people test positive throughout the season. And it's kind of an important lesson, I think, for us as, college, athletic departments moving forward. Like, what is going to be the best way for us to possibly, if there is a chance for us to have a little bit of a competitive season this year. So that's probably the thing that's more weighing on my heart, and the things that I've been paying attention to in the last week.
Good stuff, Coach. Good stuff. My little thing is going to be short. I want you all to pay attention. And we can spend it, don't get a refund. We can use it and hoard it, but it's still going to be spent. What I'm talking about is time. Spend it wisely. I want to thank Coach Kenneth Blakeney, the head coach of Howard University men's basketball, for being here. I want to thank Ray Porter Jr. for being here, my man, Coach William Greg Hoyd Jr., also Derek Bryant and Herman Shelton. I want to thank them too, because it's through them that it was possible for Coach to be here. Have a good night. Enjoy the show. We'll see you all next weekend.
Urban Media Today is your source for entertainment, news, sports, and lifestyle. It's your online resource for health and fitness, providing tips to decrease your heart disease or increase your good spirits. When you can't find who made the top picks in HBCU sports or what part of the country is most exciting or affordable to travel with the entire family, Urban Media Today is there to provide you with all that you need and just a click away. Log on to urbanmediatoday.com now. Find us on social media. Urban Media Today, your lifestyle information and blog website.